Yeah, so I think we are live. Hey all, I welcome you to weekly dev meeting of Meshery. This is the very first meeting of this month, June, and we will be talking about various work that you all are working. We have also got some standing agenda item and some training session that were held. So just in case you're looking for such tutorials or training sessions, you also can take a look at them. We have covered a couple of components, so that might be helpful according as per your interest and skill set. Right now, I'll go ahead and share this Google Docs into the chat box.
There's some fresh harassment in the chat box too. So great. So everybody's going to drop their name into the meeting attendees list. Cool. Why would they do that? Is there like a raffle or something? Do they win $1 million? Oh, we lost Vivek. Vivek doesn't have the right amount of bandwidth to be able to host this call. So somebody else is going to have to step in. Somebody that knows, how to make up jokes on the fly. Somebody that thinks they're funny, but is probably, very far from the truth. Meshery dev meeting minutes. Let's bring those up. Who's here that's new? Who do we have new today? We got some new fish, people to get to know, people to say hi to and welcome. And hopefully we've got a few. I suspect that we do, but my name's Lee. I'm gonna go ahead and take over hosting for a moment while Vivek, who was just hosting, is what would you say, in a stoic position. All right, good. Raphael's with us. Awesome. Raphael is no newcomer or no stranger. We are recording today's call, so we're live streaming. If you want to catch up on things that you might have missed or things that were said too fast, or if you just want to hear the jokes for a second time, you can watch them on YouTube. Please keep the profanity to a minimum. Please don't share passwords or secrets. This is a CNCF governed project, and so we follow the CNCF Code of Conduct. One of the things that we like to do, though, is to make sure that everybody that's here gets a chance to get to know everybody else, or rather that everyone else that's here gets a chance to know the new person. And so it can be a little bit, so we want to welcome new people by having you introduce just briefly. That can be a little bit awkward, just like breaking the ice is anywhere. Hopefully I've like really lowered the bar with the jokes, the bad jokes, and the friendliness. So Pranjal, you're on the call. I was just trying to catch up with you yesterday, and then your sister wouldn't stop yelling in the background. Literally, that's not a joke. And so you couldn't talk to me. I guess that'll teach you to, not put the toilet seat lid down. But anyway, we didn't get a chance to talk. Sorry, that actually was funny for some of you who are listening. I just somebody else needs to host. I don't think I'm in a mental state to host. I think I'm so frustrated with the CNCF I can't see straight. And so Ian, you're here. It might be time for you to do a hosting. Abid, you're here. Maybe you could take over. But Pranjal, Mr. Cole, do you want to say hi and just introduce yourself real fast? Let everybody get to know you.
Yeah, sure. So I am a computer science student from the Indian Institute of Technology, Patna, and I got done with my second year, and currently my summer holidays are going on. So I found Meshery to contribute to. I have been contributing to open source for a few years now, but I'm very new to cloud technologies, so I hope to learn a lot.
Nice. Yeah, there's no doubt of that. All you got to do is keep showing up and you will learn. And you will learn how to force a chuckle out of your mouth just to make everyone else feel good when they try to make a terrible joke. Along with that, good. It's very good to have you, Pranjal. I'm going to hand off host to maybe Abid. And
Yeah.
who else is new? Rahul Rudra, have you gotten a chance to say hi on this call before? Abby, or you, Lou, have you said hi on this call? You might have. I don't remember.
Yeah, this is my first time joining this meeting.
Oh, nice. Yeah, welcome. Welcome, Miss East Coaster. So remind me, what state are you in?
Massachusetts.
Oh yeah. All right. I have to work on my Massachusetts accent. I assume that you're not trying to work on yours.
No.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I've got my southern drawl down because I'm down here in Texas, so I can pull out that southern drawl anytime I want to. I just can't do it for I can't do the Boston one yet, so I'll just have to embarrass myself another time. Anyway, Abby, very nice of you to be here. Thanks for going to the newcomers meeting a time or two. That there's no statute of limitations on the newcomers meeting. I encourage everybody to go and keep going until you've found a foothold somewhere on any aspect of the project. And in fact, I encourage many of you to keep going to that meeting anyway, and eventually host the meeting. The people that host the meeting now, that's how they came to host the meeting, is they just became familiar with much of what's going on and they started hosting. We're absolutely in need of that sort of help. You can tell from Vivek's lack of bandwidth. This is like the 95th time that he's frozen on us. And so it's not, as a role, it's not working out very well for him. So we seriously do need other people to host that meeting. Anyway, Abby, so by the way, by everybody, Lou also goes by Abby. So if pronouncing 2 letters in a row is too difficult for you, you can pronounce 6. So if you doesn't work, then Abby works. Abby, anything else you want to say?
Okay, I recently just graduated from my master degree, and I just got assigned for an issue yesterday, so I'm trying to get myself start working.
Nice. So that's the June 3rd, 2025, your first issue assigned here. We should take a note and then see what things look like June 3rd, 2026. Let's see how far you've come. That's great. All right, somebody else has to host because I'm just gonna keep mumbling.
Yeah. Thanks, Lee,
Thank you.
for going through the newcomers. Yeah. Thanks, Abby. So now is Matthew with us?
I think he sent word that I will not be able to join today.
Okay, no issues. So hi everyone, I'm Abid and I'll be your host today. So I think Lee already went through the formalities and got everybody introduced. So I'll go through the studying agenda. So we are tracking the agenda items related to the CLI and UI. So Matthew, which is our CLI maintainer, is not on the call. So I think I'll probably skip over this, but these are quick overview of some of the things that we are tracking. Is mostly the end-to-end test and the integration test and the UI test that we have for the Meshery CTL and some small feature fixes that we are continuously tracking. So this sheet is, I think, probably for the tests of all of the CLI commands that we have, and lots of these are up for grabs. So if you are familiar with like Golang, even if it's just intermediate level, you can probably pick up some of these and help like getting a better coverage and proper tests across the Meshery CTL, which is the command line tool for the Meshery. And yeah, these are like there are lots of open issues to take up from this sheet, and this is why we are continuously tracking CLI maintain. And I think the second agenda item is related to UI, and Amit is also not with us, so I'll quickly go through these also. So we are in this sheet, we are like continuously tracking some of the migrations that we go from different packages as we upgrade them, and also some of the cleaning up some of the tech that we have. So one of the open agendas here is like upgrading to RTK query. So previously we were using Axios as a library for fetching data and doing network calls, and now we are migrating to the, I think we are already migrated to the new React toolchain Redux toolkit. So as a part of it, we are also leveraging the RTK query, which comes with the Redux toolkit for as our data API management library. So there are couple of open issues that need to be finished up. I think there are some PRs open that are now orphaned and left out. So anybody can take those, and some of these issues are empty right now. So we just need to migrate to use the RTK APIs rather than having those Axios calls. And I think we are also using just the plain old fetch in some place. So all of those need to be eradicated, and we just need to use the article library consistently. So this is for anybody who is familiar with React and JavaScript. He can take, he or she can take these issues. So yeah, even right now, if you are interested, you might like comment down in the chat to get quickly assigned to some of these issues. And there are also like open issues you might comment out on those directly inside GitHub also. So I'll probably link out to these sheets. These are already in here. Yeah. Sorry, I think somebody was trying to say, but there was just some noise. Couldn't hear.
Just a very, very enthusiastic yeah from a cabbie, I think. But okay.
Okay, no
Anyway.
issues. So yeah, that's it for the standing agenda. So we are also continuously now hosting the trainings for around some of the things that we are maintaining. So one of these is like the docs. I think that's on 10th April. Jahan will be. I think these are old. All of these, yeah. I think all of these
Yeah.
are old. So, but there are links to all of these. We have posted them on YouTube. So if you are a newcomer and want to know about how these things are maintained and how to contribute to any of these areas, we had like all of these maintainers have gone in depth and to explain how to work in these areas. So you can actually directly go here and get familiar with the area. So I think we have got everything covered from docs to front end to back end to CLI. So if you are trying to contribute, I think this is pretty good starting point. I think with all of these covered, and we don't have any active announcement right now, so I think we can start with our topics. So if Nikita is with us, he can share the screen. Nikita.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hello. Let me share my screen. Right. So like, yep. Yeah. So recently we updated like Go module name from a layer file containing name to Meshery. And for this, like we updated Go mode, like root Go mode, and as soon as we have a kind of mono repo in the master Meshery repo, we also updated like all imports to which contain like this like local module name in server and Meshery CTA. So yeah, it was a PR which actually covered 369 files, and also within this PR, like we regenerated CLI doc. Yeah, not a lot to discuss about it, just like a brief mention.
Yeah, like regarding this one, like we're not like importing Meshery anywhere, so like to update the reference there. I think it's just inside the Meshery only, like we're not importing it anywhere else as a module.
Yeah, right. No, but like what I meant, like, so you have like this server,
Yeah.
folder or
Yeah.
package, and inside this folder, like you reference the packages,
Yeah,
which
the
is like
internal
inside
modules. Yeah.
yeah, and it also contains like this, like the
Yeah.
module name, which is like inside Go mods. That's why it was like
Yeah.
updated. That's why it's like a couple
Yeah,
hundred
it makes
files.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Do you have anything else to share? Okay. Yeah. Let me take the screen. So I think we have Pranjal with us. Yeah, Pranjal, are you able to share right now?
Let me check.
If you need some time, we might come back to you later.
Yeah, so the first PR is replacing Husky install with Husky. And this command was deprecated in a previous version, and it's a very small change. So I did this,
Yeah.
and after doing this, npm install gave an error that we have to remove these two lines. So I removed these two as well.
Okay, now so we no longer need a setup for it. Okay.
Yeah. And the other PR, this will need some more work. This is not ready to be merged because the workflow is working here. This is the workflow. Like it is working without the PR. So it needs some more work.
Yeah, can you share the issue which you are working on, like where this is coming from?
Which issue?
Yeah, this issue. The issue
Okay.
from which you are working on this PR. Yeah,
Yeah.
this one.
So it is
I
trying
think
to
yeah.
find the PR number and it says no such file.
Yeah, I don't know. We might be on a. Okay. So Pranjal, you're saying that Pranjal, do you have your video camera by chance? If you're going to present, we should get you on video.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm
No.
I
Yes. No.
can't
No.
present
No.
it.
Your sister's in the background still. Okay. I see. You're going to keep using her as an excuse like last time. All right. Dude, what are you fixing? Because you know a couple of times you said like, well, the workflow is working, so we need to keep working on it, making it work. So you're confusing me. I'm not sure. Uh,
The workflow
what,
is on push events. So on push events, there is no pull request number. So we will have to change that.
okay. So there is a pull request, but the push event specifically doesn't say what artifact it's coming from, whether that's an issue or a pull request.
Yeah.
That's weird. Yeah, that's weird. Are you for sure? For show? Just to use some Southern. Um, why does my video not show up on your end? I think it's network. Anyway, Ian, are you able to speak to some of this? Because it'd be really weird if you're having events on a pull request and you can't get access to figure out what that PR number is.
Yeah, I think it's because when we do a push event, so if we merge into master, that's the only point when this is failing. When I was able to look at it just briefly last night, it works on pull request target events, which is from the Meshery UI server. So workflow. So essentially, what's happening is on PRs, it's working as we see with the PR that he showed. That we can see that it is labeling, it is commenting, but when you merge to master, I think that's when we're seeing the failures that was linked in the issue. That's at least my understanding right now. But yeah, I definitely need to confirm that. I was able to see that they were empty. You know, we weren't echoing anything into those files. Yeah, essentially like, hey, we can't find a PR to comment on because you're just pushing to master. You know, so there's no. So I think that checks out logically, but feel free to correct if I have some misunderstandings there. But so essentially, I think we just need to put an if condition on that workflow to say, hey, if this is push event, like don't comment on the PR because that's incorrect.
Yeah, because there is no PR then, if that's the.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
Nice. Yeah, it says this is an existing workflow that we've had. Okay, and we're just modifying it to help ensure that we're running against the right the appropriate code, I suppose. And the code that's just been changed and not some other code. And
So this workflow is executed after this other one is completed, Meshery UI and server.
is it a new workflow? The one that we're talking about, is it new?
It will report on pull request comment.
That doesn't answer
No,
my
like
question.
this is this is the same end-to-end test work. So I think this is because like we just need to add some defense checks in case there's no PR available. So basically, when we're pushing to master, we don't go through that flow like of commenting to the PR. So I think that's when we are getting the PR number. So we just need to add some defense checks, as Lee also, sorry, as Ian also mentioned, like you just add some if checks there, so we don't just get into that error. But yeah, on the normal PR, it should be working as is because we have the PR number. Does it help, Pranjal?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Do you have anything else to share? I think, okay, you went through your 2 updates. Thanks, Pranjal. Vinay, do we have Vinay with us?
No, though I have sent a reminder for them and the next person to join.
Okay, okay, thanks. Vic. Okay, so maybe Rahul, you can share.
Hello everyone, I'm Rahul. I'm sorry, I'm actually outside, so my voice will be breaking little. I'm actually, I wanted to ask one more stuff other than my issue. Is sometimes when I go for local host, I end up in a screen where it's like, oops, it seems like we don't have any skill permission page. Like, why is that kind of?
Yeah, that screen happens when you like probably if you have lost your session. So if you have an old local session, you sometimes don't have the necessary or the cookies that you have in your browser are expired. So that's why the local server is not able to differentiate between an expired session or an active session which is not valid. So one thing you can do is like if that happens to you and you are running a local server, you can just clear your cache and just refresh the tab. That should fix that issue locally.
I will try that.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Okay. Let's move to the next item. So
No, yeah,
I think it's
also.
yeah, we can go back to it when you're in a like better position to share.
No, I can
Or we'll
hear.
give you an
I can hear. I just if I speak, it's a little bit of crowd, and that's
Yeah, which means that we can't hear you, Rahul. And if you're not in a position to present your agenda item, then we need to skip because nobody else on the call, other than native Hindi speakers, probably can understand what's going on. And so,
okay. Sorry, my bad.
cool, good. We'll get you next time. Or you can make a recording with clear audio and share it in the Slack. That way, people can check it out beforehand, before next week.
Sure.
Okay, so let me share my quick update. So one of the changes that I was making was to the events API that way. So in Meshery we support event streaming, and we keep track of all of the operations that are happening, and we persist them, and we also stream back them to the user. So my improvement was pretty small to one of the APIs that we use, the REST APIs that we use for fetching the events. We were not supporting some of the filters, so the filter for like knowing which resource we had the operation was done on, we were not able to filter based on that. So there's a param called acted upon, which can now be used to filter down to the specific resource that the operation was acted upon. So now we can do that, and we can like slim down the notifications based on that. So this would be in future used to like get events specific to their design. Like if you want to know all of the events that were generated on the design, we can just filter up on the acted upon as the design ID or the view ID or any other resource that we have in the system. We can filter down the events to that now. So this helps with that. Other than this, we also did a recent kind of a probably just a migration to like rename the one of our remote providers from Meshery to Layer 5 for more clarification. So doing that, we had to update some places in the code which are now done, and we have also made the necessary release and all of other workflow changes to reflect that. So now if you have to use the Layer 5 as your remote provider, you can select Layer 5 rather than the Meshery, which was a bit confusing. So that's also now cleaned up. Yeah, that's from me. So any questions? I think probably not. Okay, so
What kind of events
moving.
like do we stream?
So the events that we generate as we are processing any requests, we generate the events based on that. So let me quickly show you. Yeah, so the events that you see in here inside the notification centers, which are generated from both remote providers and also local providers, which are then streamed back through GraphQL subscriptions and also through the REST APIs and are persisted locally and also like remotely. So these are like the ones generated every time you are processing any request. So we have the events builder in Meshkit, which is used to generate these or create these.
Hey, yeah, hey, just if I don't, if it's all right, maybe a quick word on a quick background story on events. So okay, here, let me share just a moment. Just was it Nitin? Yeah, Nitin. Wait, no, I'm sorry. There's a Nitin Shukla and there's a Nitish C. But Nitish had said he wouldn't mind getting a bit of a better understanding of what Meshery events are. And so, yeah, great question. Abid, did you just show in the UI where events show up in Meshery UI?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
So
inside
yeah,
the
up in the
notification center, yeah.
nice. So then I will say this, they're inside of the community drive, inside the community shared drive that you all have access to. And if you don't, you're welcome to get access to. You should just go to drive.google.com, and in your shared drives, you would see one called Layer 5. And if you don't have access, just fill in the community member form, and you'll get access right away, immediately. Inside of here, we keep design specs and assets and lots of stuff, actually. There are two design specs that are pertinent to Meshery events. There's one called Meshery events, and it's probably the latest design spec. There's a different one called messaging framework and like notification center. This one's more of the original. And actually, from what I'm seeing, it looked like there might need to be some cleanup between the two. It looks like they might repeat each other a little bit. I'm not sure. One of them, I suppose, is intended to just focus on. I was going to say the framework, while the other one focuses on the format of the actual messages. Anyway, suffice to say, for every operation that Meshery takes and for almost all actions that a user takes within Meshery as a system, there are just events recorded to track those things for an audit trail, for an understanding of the status of a particular operation that you as a user have asked Meshery to do. There may need to be multiple things that it does in a row. And so each event, there's a particular format. And it's somewhere in one of these docs, or you could, yeah.
I think that these talks might be a bit old.
Yeah. What would be another way looking at the REST API?
Yeah.
Anyway, they don't necessarily contain stuff that you wouldn't expect. It's like 10 or so different pieces of information, sort of who initiated the event, what actor initiated the event. If that actor, like a user, was taking action on a different system. So there's like who's taking the action, who's being acted upon, what is the action, under what category is that action, like what type of event is this? And it's a short description. So it's just and so all the components in the Meshery ecosystem, all the adapters participate in this same format so that Meshery server can aggregate those messages and show them back to you about what's going on. There are you'll see the messages in different ways. It's my first time logging into layer 5. The messages come with the different severity levels, and the notification center helps sort of with some predefined filters for maybe just filtering on those that are high severity, or right now those filters don't seem to work, or they don't seem to update down here anyway. I guess they work, they just don't update down there. Anyway, you can filter through the messages that you'll notice that there's a bunch of different types. Some of them are just notifications that at a system level, like what is Meshery doing? How is it introspecting your Kubernetes clusters? What has it discovered something recently? And you'll just receive those notifications. You can go dig in, and so sometimes the notifications are based on actions that you've performed. And so where the system needs improvement is in 2 areas. One area is in helping ensure that system level messages that are maybe pertinent to Nitish as a user and Lee as a user, system level messages about things that are happening within this particular Meshery instance, both of us as 2 different users might want to see those and might be applicable to us, while other events are only applicable to Nitish. So maybe Nitish updated a design that he's working on, so he might see information about that. Whereas I'm in a different workspace, or I'm on a different team and don't need to or don't want to see that, or maybe it's inappropriate for me to see that. And so there's a little bit of right now, individual user messages are kept, are directed to the individual users in a multi-tenant way. So people, so the privacy of those accounts is reinforced. But some of the system level messages that maybe it's appropriate to be broadcast and for every user of a particular Meshery system to see, that's where an improvement could be made. The other improvement that could be made is, I guess I don't have a good example at the moment, but sometimes one event is related to the next event and to the next event. Like if you're going to provision a piece of it, maybe you're going to like work on a design, validate the design, dry run the design, deploy the design, and then maybe one of the things you just deployed failed to deploy. there's potentially like 5 different events that occurred that are all related to one another, all stemming from the same initial event. The idea that I'm going to mute Ovid. The idea that those are interrelated is something that we start to convey, but we only take it so far. So this particular, grab a different. All right, fine. This particular event here, 0 Kubernetes components were registered for this Kubernetes cluster. Okay. Well, with so Fahim, who's on the call, should be slightly embarrassed maybe by the fact that there's doc listed twice.
It's fixed. It's fixed, but the PR is not merged.
Oh, I see. Okay, all right. Then we can forego the embarrassment. Great, because we have it 3 times. Just want to make sure people get to those docs. This one doesn't have an icon. It's like Sesame Street. You know, one of these things does not belong. The Sesame Street game. Ian gets me, man. Ian's like the only one on here who might get that joke. So anyway, this is the last thing and I'm done. Nitish, one area of improvement is to show this, is to correlate events. This single event says, well, hey, there were 2 actors that were involved. This user initiated the event, and this system, this particular instance of Meshery, participated in the event. Now, Fahim is also going to make sure that this is clickable so that you can go see which Meshery we're referring to, because it may or may not be this one.
It's already there also.
Oh, it's in the PR. Okay. I love that, man. That's you should just have that answer from now on. Just like, well, it's in the PR. I mean, it's just, you guys would just merge the PR would be good. Anyway, so you can see that like, oh, there are multiple systems or multiple actors involved or implicated or participating in a given event. But we need to enhance the system to say, well, the fact that Meshery was discovering and introspecting all the resources in your cluster, that's related to the fact that down here, this event, you just connected the cluster, Meshery to the cluster. So obviously Meshery is next going to start to discover all of the resources in your cluster. Those 2 events would be correlated. That correlation is an outstanding feature.
Thanks, Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next item. So we have what are these visitors? Please, can you share the screen and go over this?
Yeah, it's a pretty small update. So I was working on the shapes of background of in the toolkit. So I've updated the integration sheet and I've shared a copy in Slack. Plus, I've updated the docs regarding the configurable and non-configurable components. Plus, yesterday I was working on the fixing the referencing between in the Meshery IO website. I've made a PR which is under review by Vivek.
Okay, thanks. So there are already like open PRs for that. Okay. Paim, you can share.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so majorly I was working on that save history. So I will give some feedback, and also uh, the initial implementation was not compatible with the operator mode. So I was working on that. So it got merged. Everything was fine. So I will merged that. Also, I changed the design. For example, rather than showing saved, I just show saved history and then show the version number, which will be different. And the time, I just tried to copy it from the Google Docs. It shows time and also it shows the current version. So I try to do the same regarding that. Yeah, and one thing that Arpit pointed out that as I made it clickable on the save history, so we lost the force save feature. So I will be implementing that and putting this on the hover.
Yeah.
That was the one thing. So the rest were very minor updates. One was this invalid time displayed. For example, inside the user profile, you see this invalid time. Basically, it was like if else, it was coded like that. So I removed that and just added the moment library. We already had that inside the cloud. So I did reuse that, and it's working perfectly now. And the last one was the import, like the changing the package and the imports from VF system to system. So these were some of the minor updates from my side.
Yeah, like regarding the formatting of time, I think we also have some formatters in system, like for showing relative time or like just formatting properly using moment. Like if you can find one from system, probably might directly use that. And also maybe like create an issue to like eradicate direct use of like like formatting manually the time, so we can just use the
Yes,
components and formatters directly from system, then that would make it more consistent.
I will create
Yeah.
a issue for that. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Naeem. So let me take the screen. So yeah,
I
we have
sent
next
you
we have
the
Medina. Yeah, can you share?
uh, yeah. I didn't finish writing end-to-end test, but I'm working on that. I'm writing test first time, so it's taking a little bit longer. Uh, I will finish by Friday. I didn't raise
Yeah,
already. I didn't raise PR because I didn't finish. Yes, that's it.
and
Not.
yeah, nice. Like if you have any like blockers, you can like I think probably mention in Slack, and I think
Mhm.
probably I already mentioned like I don't know, like yeah, we have a training session also on like
Yes,
end-to-end test, so
I
you
saw
might
the
go through it.
document.
And if you find any like discrepancies or something that like that's missing, because you as you're I think you're this first time you're contributing in that area, so you might find something that's missing. So please just don't be shy and
Mhm.
mention it, so we might be able to like fix up the documentation and make it easier to contribute.
Okay.
Yeah, nice, thanks. So next we have Mahadevan.
Yeah, I'll share my screen. Yeah, I started sharing my screen. So first, I'll just share a quick update. I have updated the system references with the new package for one of these repositories, and I'll look for other references and fix them. I was also fixing other references in Meshery/Meshery. There is a PR for that. Other than that, we are creating a dedicated community handbook using this community handbook as a reference. There are many sub issues open up for grabs, and the spots are filling fast. The relevant links from which we are taking inspiration have been mentioned in each of these issue descriptions. So I encourage all the newcomers to this meeting and the experienced ones to take up these issues and just comment on them. I will assign it to you, and let's get this handbook done. That was from my side.
Thanks,
Vivek,
Mahadevan. Yeah.
Vivek, is this is something that you're standing behind?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. There's content that needs to be rewritten then?
Yes. So we are not exactly duplicating, but taking inspiration and then so it's best suited for Meshery project. So yeah, to answer your question, yes.
Okay. Okay.
All right. I have a couple of quick updates. So in the CNCF landscape, there was this broken reference to YouTube channel. So I updated that to our latest channel that we have, where we actually are also live streaming this call right now. So there is PR, and I'm hopeful that it will be merged. So that was the very first update. Next up, we also migrated from VFI Docker user to Meshery Docker user, which is at this URL. I might share this in the chat. So I updated that across all the docs version, including the archived one. And next, if you go to Mystery Docs and all the individual integration pages, so if there's any design that is containing that model or technology, there is data design that comes up, and now instead of pointing to our remote provider, now it points to Mystery IO catalog. So that's also fixed into this pull request. So these were a couple of quick fixes from me.
Yeah, Vivek, like I think I yesterday I saw like some of the references in Meshy were pointing to Meshy Cloud, so I think those can be changed to this Meshy IO catalog. I think maybe there are some documentations where we're pointing to Meshy Cloud as the source for the content.
Yeah, definitely. I'll look more into that.
Thanks, Vivek. So I think Zian is not with us, so I think we got everybody covered up. Do you have anybody else who wants to uh, talk about something maybe? Or else we are covered.
Yeah. So there's a newcomers call tomorrow. I'm sure maybe the topic that Mahadevan was just covering about some updates on Meshery IO. That's a great set of topics for the newcomers call tomorrow. We're looking at updating the calendar on Meshery.io. I think it's Meshery.io/calendar. And there's a Google Calendar that drives the UI there. The CNCF has added the ability for projects to use the LFX calendar, or the Linux Foundation's LFX tool. And we just got an instance of that calendar and put these meetings on it. I don't know that there's a nice integration with the UI, like with the web page like this. And so that would be a step backwards probably. But I'll grab that link and share it in Slack so everybody can check it out, see if there is some way of integrating better. Anyway, yeah, just random comments from me.
Yali, like, did we get also a discussion form from CNCF?
Yeah, we just requested a little bit earlier this week, like a dedicated discussion forum. The one that we're using right now is graciously hosted by Layer 5. Actually, it's hosted by all of you that have been here have created the discuss.layer5.io. And we have Meshery on there and then a number of other open source projects as well. So we're looking at getting a dedicated forum so that Meshery can have its own. And we put in a request to the CNCF for that. I'll check now. I don't believe I've heard back on that. I don't know if that's like something that's reserved for incubation level projects or if that's available to us. I'm going to meet with the CNCF CTO later today and break off a piece of my mind and some frustration with waiting a year and a half to get reviewed and then getting a few hours of review from TOC member and then just being discarded or what's felt like being discarded. So we're going to work through that. Part of working through that might be having a dedicated discussion forum. That'd be great. Yeah, I don't know about that one. If that resource is coming through or not. But that'd be great if it did. So the call for papers to submit to KubeCon North America, that just closed just recently, but there are 10 or more open call for papers where you can submit a talk to various co-located events, various events that happen at KubeCon in that same week. Something like Argo CDCon, or I forget all the names of them. But Meshery is pretty much relevant to all of them. So for my part, I certainly encourage all of you to submit. And if you need help, let me know. Don't make me do your homework for you, but I'll absolutely review a CFP or suggest the topics. I was going to suggest like 10 of them to Oyufe, but I got interrupted and only suggested 2. Like there's gobs and gobs of them.
Yeah.
I know we might have some inside of our Google Drive, the shared drive that I showed earlier. Oyufe, I keep mispronouncing your first name, but do you know what topic you and I were talking about? Like, Oh, you fool. Oi, fool. Oi, fool.
Yeah, it's Wayful, but Oye is fine. Just
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thanks. Oye. That's like Spanish for listen. So, oye. Anyway, good. Hey, what topic were you and I talking about? We were just doing some brainstorming about particular topics that could be submitted. Do you remember, was there a particular conference we were thinking of, or was it just in general?
yeah, I think you shared a conference that relates to open source in Nigeria. Something
yeah.
happening in Lagos, Nigeria. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. For a meshmate is helping organize that. A layer 5 meshmate is helping organize that. Man, now I'm so sensitive to like being able to represent where I come from. Yeah, what's her name? Man, it's been a while. Holy smokes. She's on the Meshmates page. Yeah, I don't remember. There's tons, man. Like she'll even help you figure one out. I'll look her up. Meshmates. Anita iHuman or iHuman. Yeah. And oh yeah, like I'm sure that they have a broad agenda, like that they'll receive. You can. I wouldn't talk about Vex. That's boring. I gotta tell you, man, it's super. And it's just not something that Meshery needs, by the way, for a long time. Just we're barely talking with one of the contributors, Mr. Doss. I can't remember his last name, but he's confused between what's container scanning and what's static analysis, and we need them both. And like you could talk about any of those subjects. I mean, like that's an idea. Why we scan before and after? Why would we scan the same code before it's packaged into a container image? And why would we scan it after it's packaged into a container image? Does anybody know? Maybe we'll end on this question. So wait, what's the question? Yes, there's a question here for all of you. It's a great learning opportunity. And the question is, you'd like to write secure code and release your project with secure code and very little vulnerabilities. Now, some of those vulnerabilities come by way of code that you write or that we write, that us collectively that we write, and we forget, like, whoops, we shouldn't let someone insert in a 10 terabyte file into this input field. That would be bad. That might crash the server or something. So you have to learn how to write code defensively. And so hopefully we put out relatively safe or secure code. No doubt, like every other software that's out there, there's tons of vulnerabilities that we've written. There are also vulnerabilities maybe of third-party libraries that you're using. And so the question is, as you go to, there's various techniques to use to help qualify whether or not your code is written securely. They're just best practices and conventions that are used to help avoid that. Okay. How do you, at scale or as someone submits a PR, run tests? Because, to test against, did they follow convention? Okay, sure. You can try to use linters and things like that, but it's only going to get you so far. You can do static analysis. You can scan the container images. You can run the container, run your code, and then scan it. You can interrogate it. You can, whether it's in a container or not, you can try to attack it from different vectors. Great. These are various techniques. There's more than what I'm just saying, but there's anyway. So why would you, if we're going to attempt to improve the security posture of the project, should we scan code before it's in an image and after it's in an image? Is that helpful? In what way would that be helpful or not? Yeah. By the way, a lot of this, I don't know, I've said this a bunch in the past. for the most part, for my part anyway, I joined this call for you all. So that's why I'm here. For me, it's exactly why I'm here. So I got to encourage you to be selfish. Oh man, just be selfish. Go learn. That means speak up, ask questions, turn your video on, participate. If you're going to spend the hour, be selfish, take what you can. So does anybody want to wager a guess as to how that would or wouldn't be helpful? You know that if you get it wrong, I'm just going to belittle you and poke fun at you and call you out for how stupid. Just kidding. If you know that if you
I'd
get
like
it
to
wrong,
answer
I'm
the
just,
question. I'd like to answer the
yeah,
question.
yeah,
Okay,
go ahead.
basically, for every, in terms of for every CI pipeline, there's a concept of static application security testing, as well as dynamic application security testing. So in terms of our project, that is a Meshery, there is a need for us to implement static application security testing as well as dynamic application security testing. Because one thing is this, environment are dynamic, environment changes. A typical example is this. Last week I was a kind of a building a code pipeline all the way from a GitHub repo to these are containers to be pushed to AWS ECR. But one thing is this, after building and pushing the particular repo, I kind of found out that there were vulnerabilities with respect to the containers. And this was for a cybersecurity company. So based on this, for every of our Meshery build, there's a need for us to bring in vulnerability scanner. In terms of vulnerability scanner, we can, in terms of the networking aspect, we can kind of bring in Cilium, okay? And we can also bring in Falco. So with these two, in terms of two stack, I think we can achieve vulnerability scanning across all domain. So that's my suggestion.
Oh, Matt, what a hell of an answer, because you gave suggestions about other things to do with respect to security. And so, yeah, runtime protection, right? And the use of a variety of, you call out two different technologies, two different CNCF projects. That's right. More specific, yeah, you also addressed, you highlighted why it is that you might want to scan your code before it goes into an image and after it does. And essentially, Raphael, you're totally right. You'd said that when you build that container image, you're pulling in additional third-party libraries, or like there's more software in the image than just your code and just the third-party libraries that you have in your code. Like you're pulling in more. So since there's more, and actually, even if there was less, it's more like since there's a change, so too changes, the posture of the state of how vulnerable your app is. And so yeah, you end up pulling in tons of other libraries into your image. Got to scan it again. You might have something totally different. There's a great example that you gave about building out the pipeline. Turns out for a cybersecurity company, and yeah, once the image is built, all kinds of new vulnerabilities come in. So yeah, that's great. So some of the tools are aimed at that point in time. I hesitate to even call out some just not to show favoritism, and I've worked with lots of them. But yeah, they're static analysis tools that either crack open an image, which is nothing more than just, again, code. Anyway, yeah, I think I ran over time, but yeah, good. That's great. Thanks for participating in the question, guys. Hopefully it's a little bit helpful, a little bit enlightening. Scanning a container image is nothing more than scanning code. It's just a tar file, tar GGs, like open it up, Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Lee. So I think we're 2 minutes over time, but yeah, So tomorrow we'll be also hosting the newcomers meeting. So we'll be seeing some of you again there. So thanks for joining. Yeah, see you tomorrow. Bye.